Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do football number 1, the very basics of football. Okay, we're not going to get deep into the weeds. We're not going to talk about penalties or anything like that. I'm going to give you just the basics to understand how the game is played. So first of all, what you need to understand is football on the field, you will have 11 players. In some super small areas, they may play 9-man. It's not as common anymore that it used to be. Today, usually 2 schools will join forces and they will be a combined team and play against the other schools. So 11 players on the field at a time, and those 11 players move the ball up and down to get a touchdown, and we'll go into the details of that. So let's first talk about what a touchdown is. A touchdown is when the ball passes over into the end zone. Okay, and it just has to be the ball. Of course, the ball has to be in control by another player, but if the player reaches across the end zone and the ball gets there, then that is a touchdown if most of the player's body is outside of the end zone. The end zone on the field, you will notice, is the very ends of the field, and typically it has the mascot or the name or whatnot of the team, the home team that's playing. Another thing to point out to you who are new to the game is that the players will have different colored uniforms, whatever school they're or whatever NFL team they're representing. The home team is in a colored jersey and the away team is in a white jersey. Okay, so once they score a touchdown, so they get the ball past that last line and into the end zone, then they get 6 points. Once they get that touchdown and they get to 6 points, then the coach has to make a choice. Do we want to kick a field goal? So they kick it through the upright posts that are at the opposite side of the end zone. Or do they want to go for 2? Which basically when they go for 2 means that they have to score another touchdown. So they have their option. We can kick it for 1 or we can run it for 2. And of course, a lot of that depends on how close the game is, those types of things. You typically see them running it in for 2 if they think it's going to be a close game or if it is a close game. Just because the odds, especially in the NFL, the odds are higher that they're going to make the field goal. If you are watching Pee Wee, like little kids play football, they don't have uprights. And so they will go for 2 every time. They will run it in every time. What they do is the coach will decide we're going to go for 1 or we're going to go for 2. So if they go for 1 point, then the ball is placed closer to the end zone. If they go for 2 points, the ball is farther away. And those distances are determined by the age of the kids and what league they're playing for. Those are kind of like in-house rules. And so the coach will decide, yep, I think we can get 2 points. And so they'll place the ball farther away from the end zone. The kids will try to run it in for their 2 points. If they get it, great. If they don't, then they go on. So that's your extra points when in Pee Wee. When you get to high school level, a lot of times you'll see like all of the fields will have uprights. However, they may opt more often than not to run it. And the reason that they do that is because finding a kicker can be kind of difficult when the kids are in high school. They may have somebody, but for one reason or another, they're not very accurate. But finding a good kicker at the high school level can be really difficult. So if they have a good kicker, they're going to use them. But if they don't, you might see them running it in. And then again, also there's a strategy behind it. If it's a close game, whatnot, then they might choose to go for the 2 points instead of the 1 extra point. Okay, so that is kicking. So how do you even get to that point of scoring a touchdown? Well, when the game starts, the captains of the team will go out with the referees and they will flip a coin. And whoever wins the coin toss gets to decide if they want to punt the ball or if they want to receive. And so say that they want to receive. So the other team takes the ball, they punt it down the field, so kick it down the field, and the other team receives it. They get the ball and they run it as far as they possibly can so that they get a better field position. Wherever they stop running, wherever the ball is stopped and the refs place the ball at that yard line, say they get to the 50-yard line. Play starts at the 50-yard line. The receiving team now has 4 downs or 4 tries to move the ball 10 yards. Now they can do that by throwing the ball. They can do it by handing it off to another player and having that player run the ball, or the quarterback himself or herself can run the ball. So either one of those can help them to gain yards, and they have 4 chances to get those 10 yards. They also potentially could acquire a penalty from the other team, which if the penalty was 10 yards, then they would get an automatic first down. If it was 5 yards, then they would just move 5 yards forward, and then they would only have to move another 5 yards. Depending upon the penalty, and we'll talk about this in subsequent videos, they may or may not lose a down at that point either. If they get a penalty, then they move back however many yards the penalty was. So if the penalty was a 10-yard penalty, then they potentially could have 20 yards that they have to make up. And now they have lost their first down. So they have 3 more downs to go, and they have to move forward 20 yards. In a pass situation, it's totally feasible to gain 20 yards. So it's not the end of the world, but it definitely does kind of cramp their style a little bit. So they move forward the 10 yards, and let's say that they get it. Then the play starts wherever the ball landed. And so maybe they had a total overall gain of 15 yards. Then they start their downs over again at first down, and they keep moving. They get their 4 chances to keep moving down. Now let's say that they don't get it. So before the 4th down is played, the coaches have to make a decision. Are we going to go for it, or are we going to kick? So what ends up happening is if they go for it, then it's their 4th down. They go for it. They run the ball. If they get the 4th down, so they get to their 10-yard line, then they get another set of downs and they keep going. But if they don't, then the other team gets the ball at that spot, wherever the ball landed at the end of the last play, which might be okay if they're down the field and they're 5 yards away from getting a goal. That means that the other team has to move 95 yards back up the field. But if they're on their own 15-yard line and they opt to go and they don't get it, now the other team is going to get the ball and they're on the 15-yard line. They only have to move forward 15 yards before they get a touchdown. So that can be a problem. So in that situation, the coach would decide to punt the ball. So they're going to kick the ball off to the other team, and the other team is going to catch it and run it down. And hopefully you can tackle them before they get past where your line of scrimmage was, which is your imaginary line where the football sits at the beginning of each play. Hopefully you can stop them so that they don't put themselves into a better scoring position than what you would have left them had you just turned the ball over to them. Okay, so these are the ways that you move the football back and forth. Now, there's lots of different things that come into this. There's penalties, there's illegal plays. There is all sorts of different things that can affect the game of football and get them things to go back and forth. So this is the very basics. I'm going to do a lot more videos. I'm going to talk about different sports. We're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about wrestling. We're going to talk about more about football. Please, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put them below. That will help me to decide what kind of content that you want to see. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my channel. If you liked it, please subscribe, please hit the like button. And most importantly, if it was beneficial to you, it's probably beneficial to your friends, your sisters, that lady on the bleachers that has no idea what just happened. Send it to all of those people so that they know that there's somewhere that they can go that will explain the rules, explain what's going on in all of these games, and then they can start to enjoy them even more. If you have any questions, if you have comments, please leave them in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks, and join me next time.